Echoes, a Warhammer 40,000 fan audio drama. Written and narrated by Sixpath Kayakan. Chapter 1. The Descent. The planet Golgotha did not breathe. Kaelon Alluris stood upon its surface and listened. But there was nothing. No wind traced the jagged plains. No insects crawled. The sky was a blind cataract, the sun veiled by perpetual haze. Even the rocks seemed voiceless, slate-grey ridges that broke against the horizon like the ribs of a long-dead colossus. He had read the cartographs in the orbital archives. Once, Golgotha had been fought over by Imperial Guard and traitor alike, its plains churned by war engines. That was centuries ago. The Administratum now listed it as Silentum Mortalis, a grave world, restricted and left to rot. And yet, something had drawn him here. The Vox beacon had whispered across the void for months, a broken signal caught only in fragments by astropathic relays. His peers had dismissed it as a scrap code or warp babble. But Alluris had heard something else in its static. Cadence. Repetition. Almost a plea. And so he came alone. The Inquisition lent him authority, but authority was not trust. His stormtroopers were dispatched elsewhere, his interrogators kept at arm's length. There are journeys, he had told himself, one cannot share. The entrance yawned at the base of a fractured hill, half buried beneath scree and dust. It was not natural. An archway of blackened stone, its edges carved with glyphs long eroded. They might once have been imperial. They might have been older. A static tang filled the air around it, the aftertaste of ozone and old blood. He drew his coat tighter. Beneath its folds, his hand hovered near the butt of his revolver. The weapon was an old thing. Forged on Graia, its grip worn to the shape of his palm after 4 decades of service. A trusted friend, in places where faith faltered. The stairwell beyond the arch descended in a straight line, vanishing into gloom. Kaelon's lamp pack cast a hard white circle that seemed to be swallowed almost immediately, the light thinning as though devoured by the stone. He began to descend. Minutes passed, then hours. His chronometer ticked without sense, the dial circling, the numbers dissolving into nothing before his eyes could settle upon them. The stairs were cut into the rock with obsessive precision. Each step was identical, edges beveled, risers intact. No tool marks, but no variance, as if the stone itself had been persuaded into obedience. The walls bore the same texture, smooth but not polished, like the interior of a great bone. At intervals, he thought he saw veins in the surface, faint striations that pulsed when his lamp passed over them. He counted his steps. When the number reached 1,000, he stopped. pressing his gloved hand to the wall. The stone was cool, almost moist. He wiped his palm and found it dusted with grey powder, fine as ash. His vox bead clicked, static hissed, sharp as knives.
Oh, go on.
The words were faint, stretched, but he knew them. They were his words, spoken long ago. Alluris froze. The stairwell was empty, its vanishing point lost to darkness below. The voice came again, more distinct.
Open! For the Emperor's sake, help them out!
His throat tightened. That was the day Gethys had fallen. He had stood upon the battlements as the sky turned to fire, urging the Vestroyan regiments at his command to resist. Reinforcements, he had promised, would come. But the relief fleet never broke through. The city drowned in plague and flame, and its people with it. And now, here, in this endless descent, his own voice called back to him. He pressed onward, faster now, as though pursuit might bring clarity. But the voice never drew closer. It retreated down the stairs, echoing faint, broken, until silence reclaimed the stone. And at last, the stairwell ended. It delivered him not to a chamber, but a corridor. The walls stretched at right angles, vanishing in both directions, their surfaces slick with that same bone-like sheen. The air here was thicker, heavy with the copper tang of oxidized metal. His lamp glow revealed branching passages, each leading to further branches, angles upon angles. A labyrinth. Kaelon's hand returned to his revolver. Its weight was reassuring, but only just. He swallowed against the dry in his throat. Something about the silence had changed. It was no longer the silence of an empty place. It was the silence of a place listening.